Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, and great millstone who rule well. Peace, blessing, and safety to all the hopeful elect out there scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. This is the brother Hadabyar from the GMS Toronto camp, coming back at you with another one. And I just want to read how Job was tested, because we all are going to be tested, you know, when it comes to serving Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The Lord is going to test us, in many different ways, to prove ourselves to Him, ultimately, and the way you deal with these tests, will show, if you ultimately will show if you really have faith. If you really have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because it's not easy. you know, it's not an easy thing, because if serving Yahweh Shem Yahushai was easy, then a lot of people would be doing it. You know, Jake would be out here, you know, doing so. But it's only, ultimately, right now it's only for the elect. Only the elect are going to be able to serve and believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because it comes with, it comes with a lot, you know, and the Lord is going to test each and every one of us, and ultimately testing us with that hour of temptation. So, Job is such he's such an inspiration, on what he went through, and he's someone that I, you know, think about when the Lord is putting me through my trials. His story is very motivating. It's uplifting, and it just shows a lot. So I just want to read a little bit of this, bring out a few precepts, and then that'll be it. Lord willing, it's edifying. So this is Job 1:6 in the NLT. You see the heading, Job's first test. One day, the members of the heavenly court came to present themselves before the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and the accuser, Satan, came with them. This right alone will just bug people out. People be thinking, Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, he runs his own program. Like he does what he does what he wants to do. Not realizing that he has to go through the Most High. He has to go through the Most High. He cannot do anything unless he goes through the Most High. Where have you come from? The Lord asked Satan. Satan answered, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on. Then the Lord asked Satan, have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears Yahweh and stays away from evil. And that's, Satan is having, these back and, these conversations with the Most High, because, the Lord, the Lord is given the go ahead, he's given the go ahead to let Satan, fuck with us, do certain things to us. Have I, put us through the fire. But ultimately, that's through Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai. It's through Him. And when you're in this truth, you understand. You understand this. People in the world, they don't understand this. Jake don't understand this. They think whenever they go through something, whether something bad or good happens, well, particularly when something bad happens, they want to blame the devil, not realizing that there's an order to everything, and that the Most High is the one who's orchestrating it. Then the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, asked Satan, "Have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man of the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears Yahweh and stays away from evil." Satan replied to the Lord, "Yes, but Job has good reason to fear Yahweh. You have always put a wall of protection around him and his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is." So Satan is saying to the Lord, well, you've blessed this man. That's why he basically saying, he hasn't gone through anything. He hasn't. Job hasn't gone through anything. That's why he, serves you. He hasn't had to go through, the mud, the fire. But reach out and take away everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. All right, you may test him. The Lord, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, said to Satan, "Do whatever you want with everything he possesses, but don't harm him physically." So Satan left the present so Satan left the Lord's presence. So that Yahweh said, you could do whatever you want to him. But you just basically you can't take his life. You could and that's exactly what the Lord is doing with his elect. We're going through many ups and downs. We're going through many trials in order to show that we're not gonna curse the Most High. When the Lord whips us, we're not out here cursing him, getting mad at him. Yeah, we go through emotions, but ultimately we understand who's in control of everything. One day, when Job's sons and daughters were feasting at the oldest brother's house, a messenger arrived at Job's house with his news. Your oxen were plowing with the donkey feeding beside them. When the Sabians raided us, they stole all the animals and killed all the farmhands, and only one who escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with news. The fire of Yahweh has fallen from heaven and burned all your sheep and all your shepherds, and I am the only one who escaped to tell you. So so here it is, Job is just going after, basically shit's just hitting the fan. Things just keep happening and happening and happening. And sometimes, in this walk, we go through the same thing. It's just one thing after another. Me personally, I always feel like sometimes, you take 2 steps forward. It's like you take 1 step forward, but 2 steps back. Just when you think things are getting good, the Lord will present you with another test. And then you have to examine yourself and but at all, and just keep fighting, keep pushing, keep going. Because the Lord is testing our faith. He's testing our patience, our will to continue to serve him, and fight for this reward that we want so bad to get out of here, to make it, to be of the elect. While he was, verse 17, while he was still speaking, the third messenger arrived with this news. 3 bands of Chaldean raiders have stolen your camels and killed your servants. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. Your sons and daughters were feasting their in their oldest brother's house. Suddenly a powerful wind swept in from the wilderness and hit the house, and all sides. The house collapsed, and all your children are dead, and I'm the only one who escaped to tell you. Like, can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? Like, you put it into modern day, you know. This is like, you know, you losing your job, your house burned down, or you got evicted. The car's giving you problems. You lose your children. Going through all of this, the Job is just going after one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. You know, and this is why, man. This is why the story of Job is, it's so. It just inspires you. Because that's why we can't get too attached to the things of this world. Ultimately, because if you're too attached to the things of this world, you could bug out, you could fall out. Yeah, we're human. Yeah, we have emotions. We're not perfect, but we know as long as we continue to serve Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that everything's gonna be okay. Everything there's no need to fear. Job stood up and tore his robe in grief. Then he shaved his head and fell to the ground to worship. He said, I came naked from my mother's womb. I will be naked when I leave. The Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai gave me what I had, and the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had taken it away. Praise the name of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. In all of this, Job did not sin by blaming the Most High. So the Lord put him through all of these tests, all of these things, and he still continued to praise the name of the Lord and continue to worship him. He didn't curse the Most High. He didn't blame him. He said the Lord has blessed me with all these things and he has the right to take them away. And that's the same mindset we are to have now. Because none of the things that we have is ours at the end of the day. Even our children. Everything is a blessing from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It is only through him is why we have a job. It is only through him why we are in good health. It is only through him why we have beautiful children, a family, ways of getting from point A to point B. This is all through him. Without Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we are nothing. And that's why Jake in this world, these people, these heathens, these other nations, they ain't shit because they don't have Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They're not serving the Lord with fear and trembling. They don't believe in the power we serve. They don't got nothing. These entertainers, these high elites, they don't got nothing. because they don't have Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They don't have him in their corner. But we do. We do because we know his name. We pray to him daily. We serve him. You know? And we're going to continue to serve him and believe in him. So that's why I love the story of Job. This is Sirach 2 in the GNT. My child, if you are going to serve the Lord, be prepared for times when you will be put to the test, like Job. Because Job was put to the test. And we have to be prepared to go through those same tests. And when we go through those tests, we have to have faith that we're gonna make a way, that we're gonna get through it. Even if we don't know even if we don't, know exactly how. And a lot of brothers could have gone through that, where we just go through things and we have no idea how we're gonna get through it, but then the Lord always provides a way. Because we stood grounded. That's how a lot of people fall out of this truth. They think it's all roses and daisies and it's all good. You're an Israelite. You're a Hebrew Israelite and everything's good. No, that's just the beginning. It's just like that. That parable. It's sweet. But then it gets bitter. It gets hard. The tests become harder. But through going through the test, our will to endure, becomes, I want to say easier, but it's not easy, but just our will to endure. We have that, we have that, kind of that, that mentality. Because of all the things that the Lord's put us through. We have the mental to just keep pushing. Verse 2, be sincere and determined. Keep calm when trouble comes. And boy, that's something that I had to learn. Sometimes you gotta learn the hard way. To keep calm. When facing, certain trials. Just keep calm. Don't act out of emotion. Because acting out of emotion will could fuck shit up. Especially like, for example, like with work, so much shit has happened, with me and work and within work and not working. And sometimes I want to speak my mind, speak how I feel, especially when I feel like I was wrongfully done, if I'm saying it correctly. But I've learned to just sometimes you just gotta shut up. Everything doesn't need to be expressed. Sometimes you just gotta, like they say, you just gotta hug it. You just gotta hug it and push forward. Because I know the power I serve, the power that us hopeful elect, brothers and sisters, the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. When you truly believe in him, when your faith is just being built up each and every single day, you just keep calm in certain situations. Things don't have that effect on you like it used to. you know. And it's just a daily battle. It's a daily grind. It's not something that's going to be perfected, in one day. You got to just keep going through it. But this is one thing I learned, to be sincere and determined. Keep calm when trouble time comes. Stay with the Lord. Never abandon him. Just like Job. Job didn't abandon the Lord. He still praised him. He still gave him the glory. And you will be prosperous at the end of your days. Accept whatever happens to you, even if you suffer humiliation. Be patient. Even if you feel like you was wrongfully done, even if you feel like you was right, just pray. Pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, he nothing is too small, nothing is too great for our power, man. You know, he can make anything happen. So we just gotta continue to believe and trust in him. Verse 5, gold is tested by fire, and the human character is tested in the furnace of humiliation. Trust the Lord, and he will help you. Walk straight in his ways, and put your hope in him. Because things are only gonna get harder from here on out. It's not gonna get any easier. The trials are just gonna become harder. Jacob's trouble, out of temptation, your loved ones betraying you, even certain brothers betraying you. It's all written. The Bible speaks about all these things, so we know what's going to happen. But you just have to endure it. Endure it and just continue to trust and be patient. Just be like Job. Just be like Job. 1 Peter 4:12 in the NLT. Dear friends, don't be surprised at the fiery trials you are going through, as if something strange were happening to you. Instead, be very glad, for these trials make you partners with a Mashiach in his suffering. So then you will have the wonderful joy of seeing his glory when it is revealed to all the world. So when we go through it, we understand why we go through it, because we understand who's in power, who's in control, who's orchestrating everything. So you just gotta take it cheerfully, and just look at it. Okay, this is just another building block. This is just gonna be another lesson learned. This is just gonna be another way to level up in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Level up in your faith, in your fear, in your hope. Romans 5:3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also. Just like Job. Job was going through it and he still gave the glory. They didn't curse out the Most High. Knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patient experience, and experience hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of the Most High is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us. The Holy Spirit is that comforter. It comforts us, in these, in hard times, in good and bad times. But yeah, just gotta be like Job. That's what inspired this video. Because we all going through it, and it's tough, it's rough. But just gotta remember Job. Remember Job, and trust in our power. So I'd like to close out by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well And peace, blessing, and safety to all the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. I pray this lesson was edifying. Until the next one, Shalom.